What if the people closest to you were not who they seemed? That a life you thought you knew could be built on lies, deception, and horrifying secrets? Today, we are diving into cases so twisted, so unbelievable, that reality itself seems to blur with fiction. And yet, every story you are about to hear is 100% true. Our first story begins with a young woman named Sharon Marshall, or so she was known. Sharon was an ambitious teenager, bright and full of promise. She excelled in the ROTC, earned the admiration of her peers, and graduated high school in 1986 with a full scholarship to study aerospace engineering at the Georgia Institute of Technology. Her dream? Working for NASA. But beneath this shining future, Sharon carried a secret. She was pregnant during her final months of high school. She gave birth and allowed the child to be adopted by a wealthy Texas couple. Her dreams of college, of NASA, quietly slipped away. For a brief moment, she even tried to run away with her boyfriend, but life had other plans. Sharon eventually moved to Tampa, Florida, with a man named Franklin Delano Floyd. The relationship was complex and uneasy. Sharon became pregnant again, this time by another man, and chose to raise the child with Frank. Their son, Michael Gregory Marshall, was born in 1988. Frank worked as a painter but struggled with chronic back pain, leaving Sharon to provide for the family as an exotic dancer. Welfare checks supplemented their income, but the couple's life was a delicate balance of survival and secrecy. Sharon formed a close friendship with a coworker, Cheryl Camesso, though Frank and Cheryl had frequent disputes. One weekend in 1989, during a boating trip, a confrontation erupted between Frank and Cheryl. Shortly after, Cheryl reported Sharon to social services for allegedly hiding income to continue receiving welfare. Enraged, Frank confronted Cheryl outside the club and reportedly struck her. Not long after, Cheryl vanished without a trace, leaving her father frantic and authorities searching. Suspicion immediately fell on Frank and Sharon, yet no evidence tied them to Cheryl's disappearance. The couple fled, moving under aliases, and eventually married in 1989. Frank claimed it was to give Michael his family name, though their life continued under false identities. Sharon kept working as an exotic dancer, making friends easily, while Frank's aggressive nature alienated almost everyone he met. Threats and confrontations became a pattern, and yet Sharon planned to leave him for another man, until an accident abruptly ended her life. Sharon was found unconscious on a highway, apparently the victim of a hit and run. Though rushed to the hospital, she never regained consciousness and died 5 days later. Suspicion fell on Frank, especially after he claimed Sharon's life insurance and struggled with inconsistent identification. When authorities dug into Frank's past, the shocking truth emerged. He had a criminal history stretching back decades, including abduction, assault, and multiple escapes from custody. While Frank was imprisoned, Michael was placed in foster care. DNA testing later revealed he was not Frank's biological son. But upon Frank's release in 1994, he abducted Michael from school, threatening the principal under gunpoint. For 2 months, the boy's whereabouts were unknown. Then came the first shocking twist. Skeletal remains of a woman were found in Florida, later identified as Cheryl Camesso. Photographs found in a truck stolen by Frank revealed images of another, much younger girl, an earlier victim. Investigators pursued her identity and, years later, uncovered an unimaginable truth. Sharon Marshall was not Sharon Marshall at all. Her real name was Suzanne Marie Savarkis. She had been kidnapped as a child by Frank Floyd, her own stepfather, and raised under a false identity. Frank's crimes didn't stop there. He admitted to murdering Michael while on the run, hiding the boy's body along a highway. Sharon's death, widely suspected to be at Frank's hands, remains officially unsolved. He awaits execution for Cheryl's murder, but the shadows of his crimes stretch far beyond what anyone could imagine. Our next case carries its own shocking twists, though the tragedy struck across the ocean in France. Gregory Villemin was born in 1980 to Jean-Marie and Christine Villemin in a quiet village in eastern France. The family appeared ordinary, but over the next 4 years, they became the targets of anonymous threatening letters, ominous phone calls, and a terror no family should endure. Then, in October 1984, little Gregory vanished from his garden. The letters continued, threatening and cruel, claiming revenge against his father, Jean-Marie. His body was later discovered in the river, drowned with hands and feet bound. The French public was horrified, and the mysterious sender of the threats became known as Le Corbeau, the Crow. Investigations led to several shocking turns. Bernard Laroche, a cousin, was initially arrested, only to be released when his sister-in-law recanted her statement. Then, handwriting experts suggested that Christine, Gregory's own mother, may have authored the threatening letters. Before the truth could be established, Jean-Marie murdered Laroche, believing him responsible. Christine was arrested, pregnant at the time, and went on a hunger strike, later cleared but not before losing a child. Decades of uncertainty followed. The Villemin family faced suspicion, tragedy, and even the suicide of a magistrate tied to the case. Reopened investigations, advanced DNA tests, and stylometric analysis of the threatening letters eventually produced new suspects, but no convictions. For over 35 years, the identity of Le Corbeau remained unknown, leaving a family haunted by suspicion, grief, and unanswered questions. Finally, we arrive in the United States for a case that reads like a thriller, yet is horrifyingly real. Nicholas Barkley was a 13-year-old boy from San Antonio, Texas, with a troubled past, fights, theft, truancy, and a juvenile criminal record. On June 13, 1994, Nicholas vanished after a basketball game, never reaching home. Initially dismissed as a runaway, the family waited, and then a strange call months later seemed to suggest Nicholas was still alive. 3 years later, in 1997, the family was told Nicholas had been found in Linares, Spain. He had been held by a child trafficking ring and spoke only French. The boy returned with dark hair and brown eyes, claiming that captors had changed his appearance. Despite inconsistencies, the Barkleys accepted him. Pattern interrupts came quickly. Observant authorities noticed discrepancies, and a private detective grew suspicious. Ear comparison, DNA, and fingerprints revealed the horrifying truth. This boy was not Nicholas Barkley. He was Frederick Bourdon, a 23-year-old French con artist with over 500 stolen identities, nicknamed the Chameleon. Yet the twists did not end there. Bourdon claimed the Barkleys had coached him, even knowingly participating in the deception. Speculation arose that the real Nicholas may have been dead, and the family complicit in covering it up. Jason Barkley, Nicholas's older brother, died from a drug overdose before authorities could investigate further. Nicholas himself was never recovered. The imposter's story, and the family's willing acceptance, remains one of the most baffling and disturbing twists in missing persons history. These cases share a common thread. Reality is stranger, darker, and more horrifying than fiction. Kidnapping, murder, deception, and betrayal lives in ways no one could anticipate. Sharon Marshall's stolen identity, Gregory Villemin's unsolved murder, and Nicholas Barkley's replacement by a master con artist demonstrate that even the people we trust most can hide unimaginable secrets. In the end, these stories leave us with more questions than answers. They remind us that sometimes the truth is almost too twisted to believe, and that some mysteries may never be solved.